Subtest 3, Manual Dexterity. The Manual Dexterity subtest uses goal-directed activities that involve reaching, grasping, and bimanual coordination with small objects. Items include picking up plastic pennies and placing them into a box, stringing small blocks, sorting cards, and placing pegs into a pegboard. Emphasis is placed on accuracy, but the items are timed and the examinee is told to perform the task as quickly as possible. By including speed, the activities more precisely differentiate levels of dexterity. Although the manual dexterity activities are not usually part of everyday tasks, the skills required to perform them are meant to correspond to common daily activities, such as holding and using eating utensils, buttoning buttons, and sorting coins to make change, as well as recreational activities like playing cards, putting together puzzles, and building with blocks. Many of the kit components are required for activities in this subtest. Administration will run more smoothly if you have these components ready to use. Still, it is important the unused equipment be kept out of the reach of the examinee to minimize distraction and for the safety of the examinee. The examinee should use his preferred drawing hand for tasks that specify preferred hand. When reminding the examinee of proper form mid-trial, use simple reminders that allow him to continue with the task while listening. For example, during sorting cards you could say, "Sort one card at a time." Before administering each item, teach the task to the examinee using verbal and nonverbal directions as necessary to ensure understanding of the task. Item 1. Making dots and circles. Place page 11 of the examinee booklet in front of the examinee and have the pencil ready to use. Before administering the item, demonstrate making dots and circles by tapping the practice circles with your finger. The examinee holds the pencil in his preferred hand and makes one dot in each circle. Allow the examinee to use the pencil to practice dotting the 5 circles in the practice row. The examinee may make dots in the circles in any order. Erasing is not allowed. Record the number of circles correctly dotted in 15 seconds. Do not count the circles in the practice row. Item 2. Transferring pennies. Put together the 2 pieces of the penny pad so that they form one large rectangle, with both the penny outlines and the box outline facing up. Place the penny pad in front of the examinee with the penny outlines on the side of his preferred hand. Place the pennies on the penny outlines and the box on the box outline. Before administering the item, allow the examinee to practice placing 3 pennies into the box. Then, return the practice pennies to their original positions on the penny pad and conduct the first trial. The examinee picks up 1 penny at a time with his preferred hand, transfers each penny to his non-preferred hand, and then puts each penny into the box. The examinee may pick up pennies in any order. His hand should be over the box when dropping pennies into the box. If the examinee throws pennies, remind him to drop them into the box. After the first trial, return the pennies to the pad and conduct the second trial. For each trial, record the number of pennies put into the box in 15 seconds. Item 3. Placing pegs into a pegboard. Place the box of pegs and the pegboard in front of the examinee, with the box of pegs on the side of his preferred hand. The examinee lightly holds the pegboard with his non-preferred hand to prevent it from moving during the task, or the examiner may hold the pegboard. Before administering the item, allow the examinee to practice placing 3 pegs into the pegboard, then return the practice pegs to the box and conduct the first trial. The examinee picks up 1 peg at a time with his preferred hand and puts each peg into the pegboard in any order. If the examinee drops a peg, he does not need to pick up the same peg, especially if it rolls out of reach or off the table. He may pick up the dropped peg or a new peg from the box. After the first trial, return the pegs to the box and conduct the second trial. For each trial, record the number of pegs put into the pegboard in 15 seconds. Item 4. Sorting cards. Place 1 red square card and 1 blue circle card in front of the examinee. These cards are the reference cards, showing him where to sort the remaining cards. Shuffle the remaining cards and place the deck between the 2 reference cards. The examinee places his non-preferred hand on the table off to the side and uses his preferred hand to pick up 1 card at a time from the deck, sorting each card by color. Before administering the item, allow the examinee to practice sorting 3 cards. Then, leave the 2 reference cards on the table, return the practice cards to the bottom of the deck, and conduct the first trial. If the examinee sorts more than 1 card at a time, remind him to sort just one card at a time. If the examinee sorts cards with both hands, remind him to sort with only one hand. After the first trial, leave the 2 reference cards on the table, reshuffle the remaining cards, place the deck between the reference cards, and conduct the second trial. For each trial, record the number of cards correctly sorted in 15 seconds. Item 5. Stringing blocks. Place the blocks and the string in front of the examinee. The examinee picks up and strings one block at a time with his preferred hand, holding the string with his non-preferred hand. The blocks do not need to be pushed to the end of the string. If necessary, aid the examinee by lightly holding the end of the string to prevent tangling. Before administering the item, allow him to practice stringing 3 blocks. Then, return the practice blocks to the table and conduct the first trial. After the first trial, return the blocks to the table and conduct the second trial. For each trial, record the number of blocks strung in 15 seconds.